Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Pitter Patter Pop. Today we're talking about voiced Jonathan. Lot of buzz going on around him. He is the current voiced unit. He is the first voice unit in the game to not be limited. So if you don't pull him right now, that's not the end of the world. You can always get him later. He'll also be in the coin summons. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get this guy going forward. Personally, I think he's very good. I think he's about as good as the last one is, as version 1 Jonathan. They're about even to me. His pattern is a little weird. It's these two left tiles right here. You see my little stars right here? So he leaves the far left column and then the entire right side of the board clear. But what he does is he erases those tiles and then he fills them in with his own. So he's sort of like an eraser-changer hybrid. I think it's pretty good. I think he's very good with risotto, but the only thing is he requires a little bit of pre-work. And I'll show you what I mean by pre-work. In that if you don't have him kind of taken care of early on, he doesn't really work out as well with risotto. Also, I should probably point out before we get too deep into this thing that this is kind of a whale privilege team. Both of these guys basically need to be skill 4 or better for it to count. Like you can't do a lot with these guys at skill level 1 because they just don't. What am I doing? Because they just don't change enough tiles. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. God, I love this sword. Sword of Luck and Pluck. And risotto is, of course, broken, so you get some of this action. Also, I think, is this new? I think this is new. I don't think they had the charged 6x6s previously. I think they added that in. But as you can see, he still does a shit ton of damage with risotto as his partner. A big advantage that Jonathan has over, well, I don't know how big of an advantage it is, but an advantage that Jonathan has over other risotto partners is that he does damage when he generates the tiles for risotto. So he's adding a little bit extra on, and then every time you skill loop, what am I saying? Sorry. Every time you skill loop with him, you're doing damage instead of just the damage of the pop tiles. You're doing damage, charging damage, blowing it up, doing damage, charging damage, blowing it up, like in a row. It does add up. Also, this windscreen, as we talked about in the Dire video, is the best thing in the whole game. So before we do another round of just showing it off, I want to do a little math with you guys to show you why I don't think he's inherently a complete upgrade from the original Jonathan. Now you can see right here, on his pattern, even at peak, he makes 12 tiles. Pretty good. Pretty good. Not amazing, but pretty good. Over here, you can see that he makes... Sorry, I didn't bring it up. That would probably help. Over here, you can see that risotto makes... At 4, he makes 16 tiles. I don't know what you guys have risotto at, but you can see that he increases tiles every single skill level. And you really need to hit that 16 for Sword Jonathan to kind of matter. So Sword Jonathan, in my opinion, doesn't matter too much prior to skill 4. Without a lot of setup, because 8 tiles is just kind of nothing. Now, if we look at the original Jonathan, you can see when Sword Jonathan is making 8, he's making 12, and then when Sword Jonathan is making 12, he's making 16. So if the board is in your favor and you set it up early, I think Sword Jonathan can come out ahead. But regular Jonathan has the advantage of not needing as much, I don't know if luck is the right word, but the original Jonathan takes less setup than the Sword Jonathan. The Sword Jonathan kind of requires you to have enough on the board to make stuff matter outside of what he does. And I mean, to be fair, you do have to have additional tiles for any... Like, no tile changer makes enough for risotto to fill the board alone, except maybe, like, on a small board you could do it, or, like, Trish. On this particular one, if you have Trish that's getting set off a bunch of times, I guess you could do it that way. But all of them need a little outside help. It's just how much outside help they need. Whereas old Jonathan only needs 2 tiles for Risotto to finish filling up the board at skill level 5, of course. Sword Jonathan needs, what is it, 6? He needs 6 tiles additional to help Risotto fill up the board, I think, at skill level 5. And then the lower skill level your Risotto, the more taxing this becomes on Sword Jonathan. And I'm not trying to dump on Sword Jonathan because I think he's definitely really good. I think he's up there with all the others, you know. With other top tiers, I don't think he's as good as Voiced Joseph is, but I do think he's really good. Risotto makes basically anyone who can work well with him really good. So it kind of goes without saying that a character that does a lot of things that Risotto wants will be good. But for example, right here, you see how we're not getting that many spawns? I'm already kind of concerned about our ability to get it going with him. So we're in stand-up time. It looks like we got just enough spawns right at the last second here. So my Risotto is actually not skill level 5. So a skill level 5 Risotto making that the 2 3x3s on the left-hand side, filling the left-hand side of the board will be enough. Because mine is not skill 5, I need 2 extras to fill up the whole board. So there you go, there's the 6x6, see? Now here's the part that's going to suck, is that I can't double skill to save my life these days anymore. I don't know what happened, but I can't do it anymore. I'm going to try. Oh, I got it. Okay. Oh, but there's a Risotto, see? So I don't think this is going to be sufficient. Jonathan doesn't do, like, a ton of skill gauge gain. He does a little. Will this be enough? It was enough. Okay, so see, that was pretty cool. And that was an advantage of Sword Jonathan that I did not think of ahead of time when I was thinking about his pluses and negatives for this video. He was able to build up that last little bit of skill gauge that Risotto needed to get it in. That does suck. And because the way that the skill gauge works is that when when Jonathan pops the tiles, that's when Risotto gets the additional skills. Not when they pop with like other characters. So when he slices with the sword, he's giving Risotto the skill gauge. Whereas someone like old Jonathan or Trish or whatever, they're doing it after their move already pops. So there's no way that they can make it different. Okay, I did not think of this. This is kind of nice. This is kind of nice. Again, he doesn't really make enough tiles, so you're seeing how the fallback of him not quite building a big enough board is coming out. Now, of course, if mine was skill level 5, things would be going a little bit smoother, but still. And then now, because there's just no Jonathan tiles on the board, I'm pretty limited in what I can and can't do. You don't need to make a 6x6 with Risotto outside of... Oh, no! You need to make a 6x6 Risotto if you're going to screw it up that bad. Okay. So this is negativity. Big time negativity here. I'm not doing a very good job of defending how good this character is. I do think he's really good. I know there's some chatter, some chitter-chatter about whether or not he's actually any good. I think that he is very strong. Come on, Risotto, don't do this to me twice! Don't do this to me twice! Oh, okay, good. Thank God. I think he's very strong. I think he brings a lot to the table, but he's just a little bit more dependent on luck than a lot of other Risotto characters. I don't know if Risotto characters is the right word. But he's more dependent on luck than a lot of other Risotto formations. People like Yukako or Caesar or old Jonathan or whoever the hell, you know. They're not inherently dependent on factors all going in their way. I mean, they are to an extent. Everyone is to an extent. But Sword Jonathan just requires a little bit more hand-holding. And I guess it's up to you if you think that's bad or not. I tend to think it's a good thing because I would rather hold the good character's hand and have it work out for them a little bit better, that I would use the safer character that doesn't peak quite as high. So I mean, right here, granted my risotto is maxed out, but 2.6 million where I made a mistake. You know, I didn't get my 1 double skill, so that was a negative. I didn't get a 5x5 one time because the board just wasn't working for me. And they still got almost 3 million, and I think my Sword Jonathan, yeah, he's level 30 out of 50. So he's not even close. And my risotto's not skill 5. I know none of your risottos are skill 5 either, really. But anyway, I think that's as determined as I'm willing to get in ranking Sword Jonathan. I would say that him and the original version are more or less the same thing. This one has some cooler gimmicks you can pull off, like that. I mean, how many times have you been in a score attack run and your risotto gets just that close to getting his skill off and he doesn't quite get it? This Jonathan bypasses that. The other one doesn't. But the other one is just ever so slightly more consistent. And so it's up to you. Do you want to gamble on the bigger plays, or do you want to just be as consistent as possible in getting maybe less explosive, but less likely to fuck it up? You know? That's up to you. Anyway, I love this character. I love his voice lines. I love the Sword of Luck and Pluck. I love the arena wedding victory and level up screen. He's one of my favorite characters in the game. So obviously I'm going to rep him a little bit over the old Jonathan, but there is absolutely nothing bad on you guys if you choose to stick with old Jonathan instead of him. Other than the fact that you obviously hate Arena because you're not letting him get married. But other than that, there's nothing wrong with it. So I will see you guys next time. I'm hoping pretty soon to get up, I don't know if a guide is correct terminology here, but just a little bit of understanding how to play Risotto a little bit more. I see a lot of people saying that they don't see why he's as good as he is, or, you know, they don't see how people are getting 40 million with him. And I used to think the same thing, like there's no way that's legit, but it definitely is. Risotto is just that good. And I'll show you guys how and how you got to play him to get him that way. So all you Risotto owners that don't know what you have, rejoice. And all of you that don't have Risotto yet, boy, I hope he comes back soon. Bye, everybody.